Dear friends, today I'd like to share with you a true story about a British sports star. Roger Bannister was a British track star at Oxford University. He was so good at running that his coach believed he could break the 4-minute mile record. But Roger was not sure. Yet, because his coach believed in him, he began to believe in himself. Then came the day of the race, May the 8th, 1954. But the weather was cold and windy, and it was a terrible day for running a race. Roger then called his parents and told them, "Stay home. It's a bad day. I won't run fast." But his parents came anyway to encourage him and to watch the race. When it was time for the race, all the runners lined up, the gunshot went, and then the rest is history. 3 minutes and 59 seconds later, Roger Bannister became the first man in history to break the 4-minute mile record. Then, 19 days later, an Australian runner, John Landy, became the second person to accomplish the same feat. A few months later, Roger and John Landy came to Canada for a dream race against each other. John was leading all the way, but just before the finish line, he did something he should have never done. John glanced over his shoulder to see how far behind his opponent was. That was all Roger needed. He shot past John and won the race, also the world record. There are two similarities between Roger's story and today's gospel story. In the gospel story, Jesus called out to Peter to come to him on the waters. Because Peter believed in Jesus, he stepped out of the boat and onto the water. Then Peter found himself doing something impossible that has never been done before. Jesus was able to do this because he believed in Jesus. Peter was able to do this because he believed in his master. Peter as he walked towards Jesus, he became fearful of the big waves and the high winds, and for a brief moment, he took his eyes off Jesus. That was a fatal mistake, and he began to sink. These two stories have a practical message for all of us here in the church. First, it underscores the importance of having faith in God, our Creator. At times, we are a lot like Peter. Jesus has called all of us to be his followers, but following him in this modern world can be like walking on water. It is next to impossible, faced with many challenges, many temptations in our life. But Jesus believes that we can do it. And so, like Peter, we should believe we can do it as well. Secondly, we should keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, and that is our goal, the Lord himself. Peter represents the Christian people with their own strength and weaknesses. Like Peter, there are times when we grow doubtful and fearful at the high waves and the rough seas of being a Christian. And for a brief moment, we take our eyes off Jesus, and then we begin to sink into our own troubles. So what should we do then? We must cry out, like Peter, to Jesus in prayer, and the Lord will stretch out his hand and rescue us as he did for Peter. Dear friends, you and I may not be caught in a storm at sea unless you are on a cruise liner, but we are all caught in the storms of life, whether those storms have to do with our children, marriage, with our finance, health, or other people. The gospel today teaches us that the Lord is always with us, even in those storms. Through the sacraments, through the teachings of the church, through our time of prayer, the Lord is telling us, take courage, it is I, do not be afraid. Today, Jesus invites all of us to walk with him on the rough waters of this world, whether they are physical or spiritual. Like the disciples, we all face difficult situations from time to time in a whirlwind of opposition. These oppositions can be political or social, and they can be a challenge to our Christian values and our Christian way of life. However, if we cry out like Peter, the Lord will certainly save us. And we can always count on him because Jesus is the most powerful person in the universe, and he is the only one who can save us. Let us always remember Jesus Christ is the only person powerful in this universe who can save us, and that's why we worship him, and he is truly the Son of God.